Hello, my sacred family, beautiful beings of planet Earth and beyond. Welcome to another video on the channel of Ancient Ascension. My name is Paula, and today I'm going to be getting a little more personal with y'all and sharing about the sacred experience of sacred redirection, those moments in our lives where it seems like life is pressurizing us into a tiny ball, those moments that feel like all the doors are just closed around us, like the pathway that we were walking, our eyes were forward on, now has a giant roadblock in front of it. We all pass through those moments. I think it's a very important, of course, a very sacred part of this life that we all go through those things. And I myself have been passing through one of the most challenging seasons of my life, and I'm finally seeing the light. I'm seeing more clearly in the medicine of it all. And I just want to remind each of you that in my videos, I plan everything that I'm going to say in my journal, so I often reference what I've already written down. I don't have time to memorize what I'm going to say, so just know that I'll often read from my journal. Yeah, I just want to get into this video sooner than later because I feel the time is now. You know, this video is for those of you who have felt like life has been closing in all around you, either right now or in previous times. And the reality is that these times come to each of us out of nowhere. Or, you know, when those moments, this is what I've been passing through. When you think like, okay, it cannot get any worse. Like this has to be the peak of this season. And then it gets much, much worse. It's like, careful what you say. You know, or those moments that make you question the existence of Source, of God, or the Great Spirit, or those moments that make you shake your fist at God. I mean, I have never really passed through a moment like that where I've really been questioning, really been wondering what the hell is going on until very, very recently. Basically, the past 3 weeks, I've been passing through a very, very intense process. So welcome to this more personal video where I'm going to share the medicine that I've been receiving through what's been happening, and also explain the concept of sacred redirection and, you know, what we can do when we're in those moments where it feels so pressurizing around us. So lately I have been experiencing one challenge after another. It started when me and my partner took a trip to Peru. It was in July, a few weeks ago. And it was for my sister's engagement. She had no idea. It was a beautiful surprise and such an epic trip. But in the middle of that trip, our good friend who was watching our cats at home said that one of our cats was chased by a dog and was chased up the mountain and had not come home. And to be honest, fam, he still is not home. You've probably seen him in the background of my videos. He's a tuxedo cat, very intelligent, very special boy. So one of my cats is currently missing. That kind of turned the family trip into just wanting to be home and feeling so far away. And all of a sudden our hearts are like really worried, right? And when I finally returned to Ecuador, I am in the midst of shifting into a new visa here. And I went into the office and my lawyer told me that my visa process has to be shifted back, which then affected all of my work commitments that I had planned to have in the USA. So that was another like speed bump, I guess you would say. Then, when I was finally feeling ready and able to make a YouTube video and connect with all of you, my MacBook would not turn on. So I had to take it in, and then the next day my Wi-Fi was super slow and I had to have them, you know, work on it and do all those things. But here is the kicker, okay? All those things are life things, except for the cat is very heartbreaking, but I've been processing and I know he's alive and I know that he can return. I once had a cat lost for 6 months when I was a kid growing up and she came back. But here's the kicker, fam. My amazing partner, Fernando, had was also on the mountain on his vision quest for 9 days, doing his round of integrity. We went to go harvest him, do the sweat lodge. It was a beautiful experience, and it's about 2.5 hours away from our house. On the way back, we get into a serious car accident. The car flipped and we landed upside down. Me, my partner, and 3 other people in the car. We are okay. My partner and I and 1 other person, but 2 of our friends had major injuries and they just received the surgeries that they required. Broken collarbone in 5 places and another very serious injury that happened that's more personal. So it was, all of these events happened within 3 weeks. My cat is now gone. My visa's delayed. I got to pay all this money to change my flight, reorganize the work I'm doing in the States. My MacBook won't turn on. And then the kicker is we all basically kiss death. I mean, if you would see the car completely upside down and smashed, you would think that everyone did not survive. But thanks to the Great Spirit, thanks to God, thanks to all of our guardian angels, we live to see another day. And these injuries that they received are being fixed and they're now in the healing process. So one thing built upon another within these 3 weeks. And throughout this process, I would say before the car accident, I was driven into a process of rage, of sadness, of confusion, of looking up into the sky and wondering, where are you? What's happening? My faith was being so tested. It's really funny when life is going along great and we can feel wow, thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you, God. I can feel you. And then when life gets extremely challenging, we're like, what the hell, But it's also, now that I realize, is God, the Great Spirit, life, our angels, our guides, are actually handing us this experience for the betterment of who we are. The car accident really changed everything for me. And sometimes we really do have to be slapped, especially when we're in the previous process of wondering, is there anybody out there? Is all of this stuff sacred, or are we just human beings existing on this planet? I was going there, but the car accident changed everything. That accident took away all of the stresses before. It helped me make peace with the fact that my cat is gone. All of that kind of happened when I realized I was in the car hanging upside down and I was alive. As the accident was happening, I was in the front seat. I took a breath, I closed my eyes, and I relaxed my whole body. And I felt in that moment the presence of angels, or something was holding me and just told me to relax and close my eyes and accept a major injury or accept death. And I was fully ready, but nothing came of it. So I want to thank my guardian angels, as well as yours, for allowing us to be the walking miracles that we are on this planet, because that is truly what we all are. If we're all still here and we're all still able to live to see another day, to see the sun once again. I am still recovering from the shock of that accident, as well as, the process of wanting my cat to come home, but accepting if he does or he doesn't. But I know he's alive. I know he's out there. It's just I live in the mountains of Ecuador and the lands are really big and there's a lot of forest. But, I'm just sharing that personal story of what has happened as an example. And maybe you can relate to other times in your life, or maybe right now, where you're like, yeah, it's been one challenge after another. And I wonder, can it get any worse, or there's no way it can, and then boom, you almost die, and then you wake up and you realize that you're not dead. And that's the reality of life, right, family? We don't have all of the control. I never decided that I wanted to get into an accident. I couldn't have control over the dogs chasing my cat away and sending him into confusion and fear. You know, I don't have control over the Ecuadorian immigration system. It's like all these things. I don't have control of my MacBook not turning on. You know, all these things, easy or not, life is still a gift, and that is the reality. And so, you know, what is this sacred redirection and why does it happen? That's really important. And I just want to remind you guys that I'm sharing my personal perspective and experience. And I think that for each of us, our own relationship with sacred redirection, or whatever we each want to call it, is also personal. But this is how I see it. Sacred redirection for me is when life shuts doors or closes the road that we have been walking, not to punish us, but to simply redirect us, redirect our energy, redirect our vision, reopen us to what's really important. And the redirection happens in life events like the accident, or deep emotional processes like letting go with my cat Wachi, or rage with the visa thing that sent me into a seriously sacred rage, or through challenges in life situations that seem to come from nowhere. What I personally see is this redirection is actually more like a portal that we are passing through. The falling apart, the closing of doors, the roadblocks on the pathway we're trying to walk, that's a portal. It's a portal that we're actually being pushed through. And that portal, in my opinion, is the threshold between one chapter and the next. So I see it's extremely important, this sacred redirection. It's extremely important, these portals that we were forced to go through. We didn't ask for it, but it happens. And I just want you guys to remember the next time you're in these moments, because I know this stuff is going to happen to me again, but I do feel like this portal is closing and I'm going to be in another moment of expansion and creation, and not just trying to survive another day, another moment. But remember that in these moments, our faith gets tested because it is being strengthened. While we are in the midst of the portal or the sacred redirection, we may not see the medicine, but it is there. I can tell you, for me, I wasn't seeing any medicine of any situation. I was like, maybe my whole life and my whole belief system and all this sacred ceremony stuff that I'm in is all bullshit, and like, you know, I should just go be a normal person working a normal job, and like, I was questioning everything. But now that I'm on the other side, I feel my faith is even stronger than it was before. So sometimes we need to question to strengthen what we really do believe, you know, and kind of come to terms with what this reality is. And so the medicine for me, as an example, is I've had to let go of my cat being home and understand that the deep pain that I have been feeling and have experienced for his loss is only so deep because I love him at the same depth. And we can't have one without the other. We can't only live in a world full of love and light. We have that pain and that darkness too. And both sides of that same coin are valid. Both sides are medicine and worthy to experience in this life. I remember through this experience that we will always have to let go in this life to be free and to be open to what is coming. We cannot stay stuck in what once was, because we just can't. Life is always changing. Life is always dying. Life is always being born again. And that is the natural rhythm of this life. So when things disappear, or when life changes, or we lose someone, or we lose a pet, or we lose something, we can't dwell in what once was for too long. We have to just learn to let go and trust in the redirection, and trust in the medicine of that person or that pet or that thing leaving our lives. And, you know, it's a big piece of letting go is releasing our attachments in this life. That's always so important. I realized after the accident that I would rather be alive to feel the pain. I would rather be alive to feel the discomfort, to feel the frustration, than to have died in that car at 30 years old. I mean, it obviously wasn't our time, but it was a pretty life flashing before your eyes situation. And, as I said, I truly was questioning the presence of the Great Spirit in my life before the accident. But in that moment, as the accident was happening, when time slows down and everything is slow motion and everything just feels like accept your fate type energy, I could feel my angels were present with me, allowing me to survive without a scratch, without a bruise, without any pain in my body. And so the medicine of all these, the sacred redirection and experience is that my faith has been renewed. I have learned to let go, and I finally feel clear now. I feel clear after weeks of feeling like life was pressurizing me into a tiny ball. Just remember that the sacred redirection, or those pressurizing portals, you could call them, they help us to strip away illusions and attachments. They also help us push us so deep into surrendering into the mystery of life. And they help us reveal what truly matters. Like for me, what matters is that I'm alive. What matters is that I'm here to breathe and to see the sun and to exist another day on this earth. That's what really matters. All the other stuff, the cat, the visa, the laptop, it's like, chill, not that important actually. Well, my cat is, but I know he's okay. So, what I want to remind each of you in this video is that life is not granted or guaranteed. That's just the fact. Who decides if we wake up tomorrow? Something beyond each of us. Who is holding us here? Something beyond each of us. It is not granted and it is not guaranteed, and it is a gift and something that we can always remember to say thank you for having. In these moments, I think it's so important to stay connected to Source, stay connected to your God through prayer, meditation, or stillness. I feel like my moments of meditation and prayer are really the only things that got me through, questioning and feeling extremely low in my life. And letting go of the need to control. Obviously, we're not the ones in control. Let's be real. And, it's helpful to write your feelings down and connect to the earth. Oh my gosh, I spent so much time just laying on the earth, just being grateful that she was holding me, and that's it. And always remember to ask in life, ask, what is this teaching me? What is the medicine of this experience? Rather than, why is this happening to me? Because there's always a reason, but what is the deeper undercurrent of the lesson? What is the deeper medicine that life is trying to, shift our perspective in, redirect our pathway that we're walking to one that's more aligned? And I realize now that the direction I was walking before these past 3 weeks, like I feel more sure now. I feel more aligned. I feel more myself. I feel more gratitude. I feel more organic in who I am after that experience. And I'm grateful for that. I really am grateful. I really wouldn't change a thing now. The truth is that we all pass through these portals, and it is a part of why we're here on this planet. And they allow us to leave behind the old versions of ourselves. And we get to step into that unknown territory with more awareness and more faith in our pocket. So if you're going through a storm right now, or the next time you're in one, keep your sail set and cultivate more trust than you have ever cultivated in your life before. Trust in that redirection. Try to stay open to that redirection. And the medicine is being delivered, believe it or not, even if it tastes awful. I just want to close this video with a prayer of thanks to each of you, a prayer of thanks to express, and so you can hold it in this moment. You can receive the prayer in your life as well. To all that is holy and sacred, thank you. Thank you to the magic that surrounds each of us every day. Thank you for the opportunity to see another day and breathe another breath. Thank you for the pain that pushes us to the edge and strengthens our faith. Thank you for the love, the beauty, and the abundance we all get to swim in here on earth. Infinite gratitude and love to the angels, the guides, the protectors, the ancestors, and to the one true God that lives inside each of us. Thank you for my life, Great Spirit, and thank you for the lives of humanity. We are all family. We are all related. Aho. Amen. So that's it, fam. I hope this video has helped you. I am just coming back to myself slowly but surely. I mean, life just really punched and kicked and swirled and flung me upside down. And I think in a lot of ways I really required it. I think it's always good when you feel like you know where you're headed for life to come and shake you up and redirect you and take the rug from beneath your feet. And I'm grateful for those experiences. And just remember that if you're passing through that, there is light, there is clarity, there is medicine, there is knowing at the end of the tunnel. And just be patient with yourself. I mean, in the midst of those 3 weeks, you know, some days I was just, all I could do was exist. All I could do was take a shower. All I could do was try to feed myself. So be patient with yourself and know that the energy will move, and you won't be feeling like that forever. You won't be feeling like that forever, and you will find the clarity and the peace and the surrender and the trust and that faith filled into your heart once again. It's okay if we don't always feel it, because sometimes we got to question what we think we know. Sometimes we got to question what we think we believe, right? So loving each of you so much from Ecuador, sending all my love, all my blessings, all my protection, all my peace, all my gratitude straight to you.